Got a question for you here, Chris. What is going on at the University of Georgia right now?
Well, Christian, I would say with that loss to Ole Miss last week, with pretty much everything on the line, like I said, Georgia, I think in that game, Ole Miss included, couldn't afford to lose that game. You guys got your ass beat. I mean, you really did. That game wasn't even particularly close if you think about it, 28-10, right? As far as a whole, dude, I don't know. Carson Beck, I think, has been a problem this year, and I can't believe I'm saying that. If anybody knows this, I'm very high on him. I've been very high on Georgia. I'm probably just as disappointed as Christian is, even though he's the resident Bulldog fan here this year on the Bulldogs. Now, I don't want to sit here and sound like a Debbie Downer and that Georgia's season's over yet. They do have something to play for. They are still alive yet to make a playoff berth this upcoming week if they can beat Tennessee. But, Christian, I kind of want to hear your thoughts about your Bulldogs here before I get too much into it. But maybe you can answer that question better than I can, because I'll be honest with you, Christian, this does not look like the Kirby Smart team that I've seen the past 7 to 8 years.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I think this is defensively. First of all, let me say this. Defensively, they're doing what is needed to be done. Now, take away the first half against Bama, whatever have you. Besides that, they've played pretty well, I would have to say. So defensively, we're fine. So then you look at the offensive side of the ball. Well, what's going on offensively? You got Carson Beck. He's already thrown 12 interceptions this year. I mean, you almost can bank on him turning the football over now in these games where you got to have it. And then you look at, okay, why is he turning the football over? Well, Georgia Bulldogs, I mean, they're not protecting him particularly well at some of these games. When they do protect him, you know what I mean? Receivers are dropping the football. I know Chris alluded to this on our Georgia versus Tennessee video we did. They lead the country in, passes dropped this year. And then as if all that's not bad enough, they can't run the football. They're really banged up, at the running back position. So even if, and at the offensive line position as well. So even if the offensive lineman can get those blocks, running backs aren't hitting the right holes. Their vision's not there. You're down to, third, fourth, fifth string running backs that are taking the ball that are pretty much walk-on guys that you didn't think would really even have to play this year. I mean, they're so banged up that, it's not a good combination. So that puts even more of even more pressure on Beck to have to make some things happen. Now, here's the thing. You would think, okay, as if all that wasn't bad enough, Carson Beck coming into this year was a Heisman contending quarterback. That he was I don't want to say a lock, but he was almost guaranteed to go in the first round. A lot of people thought he'd be the first overall draft pick, this year. And myself included. And I thought, okay, he might have a chance to win the Heisman, put up some big numbers, lead him to another national title, be a first round draft pick, be number one overall, whatever have you. Right now, Chris, they've played so bad and he's looked so bad here recently that I don't even know if he'll get drafted before day 3, the way he's playing. And to make matters worse, it's so funny that they're losing 22-10 to Ole Miss, and he's smiling on the sidelines. And we're going to get into some of that here in a minute, some of the stuff that came out of that Ole Miss game that I don't like. But the last thing, and I want to make sure that I touch on this, that all affects into it, is Mike Bobo. Now, I wasn't sold on Bobo coming in to replace Todd Monken because I've dealt with that and I've seen what it can be. But I'll tell you this, Carson Beck has regressed under Mike Bobo. Mike Bobo and this offense have regressed from last year. And I think a lot of that has to do with things we've mentioned to lead this off, but the biggest thing is the play call selection, where they just commit to just being very bland and very boring for a half, and then they'll try to open it up in the second half of a game. To me, if you think Carson Beck is even an average, starting quarterback at the college football level, even just for the SEC, whatever have you, let him throw the freaking football. Let him throw the ball. Try to mix it up a little more. You don't have to run it on first down. Try to throw it on second down. Definitely throw it on third. Be a lot more conservative. Take your shots right off the rip. Throw the football down the field. You know what I mean? Hell, at this point, abandon the run game because apparently it ain't really doing shit.
Yeah, I don't want to jump in here, Christian, but I wanted to say a few things. No, I don't understand it. Like I said, you would know better than I would, but I've watched damn near every Georgia game the past 4 or 5 years that's on TV, and something's off with this team, dude. There's especially offensively. I get that you guys don't have the DeAndre Swift, Nick Chubb, Todd Gurley, James Cook type running back. I don't know where those guys are at, but you guys don't. But still, even last year, in years prior when you guys didn't have those types of backs, which is rare, you guys were still top 40, 30 in rushing the football. You guys are 104th, I think, in the country. There's 134 teams, man. We're talking epically bad here for Georgia. And then with the play calling selection, I will agree with you 100% has been dog shit. I mean, last week against Ole Miss, I don't know if they threw a pass longer than 15 yards downfield. If they did, your receivers dropped it. But it seems like he's so scared now to let Beck go out there because he's scared he's going to turn the ball over. Well, let's throw everything behind the line. Let's dink and dunk. And that ain't Georgia football, and that's not how this offense should be ran. You guys still have weapons. The tight end position has been on a milk carton all year. I mean, I know how good Brock Bowers was, and we've seen what he's doing in the NFL. He's one of the best tight ends this year. But you guys it looks out of sync. It looks terrible. And your defense, you alluded to it, they've kept you guys in a majority of these games outside the Alabama first half. You guys just haven't been able to score enough points. And I do want to talk about that a little bit. We talked about it off the air. I couldn't believe what I saw this weekend when I was on the phone with you particularly. We were talking about it. We were watching the end of that Georgia game, and they showed Carson Beck sitting there on the fucking sideline, and he's sitting there smiling. And you're down 22-10. There's nothing to be smiling about, man. That really bothers me. For a kid who's played the way he has this year with a lot on the line, Georgia's season on the line, and you find it funny? There's nothing funny. I'm not even a Bulldog fan, and I don't find it funny. I could only imagine what a majority of America thought at that time, Christian.
Yeah, I mean, it was just immature. I mean, if I'm an NFL GM and I'm watching that right now, I'm going to tell you right now, just based off performance alone, hey, he's at best a third-string quarterback in the NFL based off how he's played this year. That right there, I ain't drafted him. I'm avoiding it. That's cancerous. You know what I mean? Because in the NFL, you want guys that, yeah, I get it. You can lose a game. You don't have to win every game. You don't have to be the Chiefs or the Dolphins or the whoever. But the old school Dolphins. I know Chris is a Dolphins fan. We won't get into that. But my point is, you know what I mean? Like, losing should not be fun. You know what I mean? Then you look at what happened as well. We have a backup safety in Jake Pope who is out there celebrating with some friends of his that he went to high school with that go to Ole Miss now. After the game's over, when all the Ole Miss fans stormed the field, they're out there dancing together and shit, and somebody caught him. Kirby called him an idiot. He said he's an idiot. I think that's so stupid. You know what I would do for me, Chris? If I was the head coach of Georgia, and of course I'm not, and I don't have 2 national championships to my boot and playoff appearances and millions of dollars to coach the Georgia Bulldogs. But if I was Kirby Smart, this is what I would do. I would, Monday at practice, when we come back to practice there on Monday, I would have those 2 off to the side, and I'd say, hey, keep your pads and everything on. Everybody else is going to practice. Gunnar Stockton, you go get first team reps today. And I would make them run for the entire practice. They would be running. And every couple minutes or so, I would look over because I know they got the megaphone and everything over there. And I'd say, what's so funny now? Is it funny now? Is losing funny? I would run the shit out of them until it was no longer funny, until not only they got the point, but everybody else on that roster got the point. And if both of them wanted to transfer and sit the rest of the season out, good luck. We don't need you. Because I can tell you right now who probably won't throw 12 interceptions, and that's Gunnar Stockton. Because literally at this point, it's getting to a point where you're the problem, this is the problem, and nothing should be funny about it. There shouldn't take solace in losing a game to Ole Miss. Yes, I get it. They're a good team. They're a team that, for Christ's sakes, had a hot dog eating competition for a spring game. And that's funny.